Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm going to read through the full article here. It is fairly short. There is a link in the description. The article is quite light on details. There's a lot of question marks here. There's quite a few missing pieces. So I'll relay the facts, and then we can, perhaps have a little talk about what potentially the case may be. So the facts are: this is a mother here, Darla Luke, 34 years of age. She did have 9 children. Regrettably, one of those children, a 2-month-old boy, died on Tuesday. She was subsequently arrested and charged with felony child neglect. Her 2-month-old boy died in a hotel in Clinton, Mississippi. The actual name of the hotel is Econo Lodge. Again, the baby was found on Tuesday. Her 8 other children were given to her grandmother, placed in care of her grandmother. Now, the coroner's office have not yet performed an autopsy, or perhaps rather, they're in the midst of doing so. They certainly haven't released an autopsy report at this point in time. The county coroner has made a brief statement, which includes her saying that the death of the 2-month-old boy was possibly asphyxiation from a co-sleeping situation. Asphyxiation from a co-sleeping situation. Now, my understanding, my interpretation of that, and who the hell am I? I'm nobody. But my interpretation of that is that it could have been the death of the 2-month-old may not be due to anybody's fault. It could have just been one of those things. That's not necessarily the case. Perhaps it's the case that the mother, or perhaps even somebody else, was sleeping with the 2-month-old boy and they were high on drugs, and perhaps they, in a drug-induced stupor, slept on top of the 2-month-old baby. We don't know. And we're not going to know until the autopsy report has been released, and perhaps that is the explanation as to why currently the mother is charged merely with felony child neglect and not anything more severe, such as first-degree murder. And perhaps that also explains why she has what I would say is a very low bond, a $25,000 bond. So I would be thinking that if the investigators at this point in time were confident that she is responsible for the murder of her 2-month-old, my feeling would be that the charges would reflect that belief from the investigators, and the bond would reflect that belief. So seemingly the investigators are keeping things open at this point in time, awaiting for the autopsy report to become available, and perhaps at that point the charges and indeed the bond amount will be amended. But as it is, she's been charged with felony child neglect after her 2-month-old son was found dead on Tuesday. I think I mentioned her other 8 children are now in the care of her grandmother. I believe that is correct. I believe they are now with the grandmother. I guess that is correct. But another aspect of this story is that as recently as June the 7th, this mother, Darla Luke, was charged with misdemeanor child neglect. Misdemeanor child neglect related to living conditions and incidents at the home. So we know that she's not the perfect mother. She was charged just 2.5 weeks ago. Two weeks prior to the death of her 2-month-old son, she was charged with misdemeanor child neglect. And at that stage, the children were removed from Darla Luke, but they were returned sometime over the next couple of weeks. So seemingly, she only just received access to her children again, and within days, if I'm understanding correctly, one of her children, presumably her youngest, her 2-month-old son, has died. And seemingly the investigators believe that child neglect is an aspect of that death. Or hang on, what I've said there, I retract what I just said. the investigators believe that child neglect occurred. I guess it's to be determined whether or not that was a significant factor in regards to the 2-month-old boy's death. Okay, that's really all of the information that I have. I found this a little bit difficult to unravel. Have I done a decent job? I think I have, actually, to be honest with you. So I do deserve a like, a comment, and a subscribe. But this is a grim story. A 2-month-old has lost their life. We'll find out in due course if the mother is culpable. At this point, I don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. We know that she's not the best mother in the world, so it's not looking good for her. But the investigators will get to the bottom of this, I'm quite sure. I have a lot of faith, as I've said numerous times, in the investigators and the medical examiners, the autopsies. They relieve, they, hang on, what's the right word? They show a lot of correct information. The evidence speaks volumes. And the scientists here, the experts, the medical examiners, the county coroners, they're not biased. They're not here to make up, to fabricate false evidence. They're highly trained. They're standing on the shoulders of giants in that the science has developed over the course of decades, a century or more. So they really do have hyper accurate tools and strategies at this point in time. Going to wrap things up here, guys. Please take care.